going to show you how to test for dead mobs. This can be good for minigames, so if you have like a dungeon game and you want to make sure that all the mobs are dead before the player is allowed to go on to the next level, this is what you can use for what you're wanting to do. I do have an older video on this, and the older video still works, but it is outdated, so this new method is actually simpler and uses less command blocks. So we're starting out with one command block. The most you should really need for the base of this method is 2 command blocks. And the only reason you would have more command blocks is if you want it to do more. The least amount of command blocks you will need is 1. So in here, you're going to be using the execute command. It's going to be execute unless entity at E run, and then whatever you want the next command to be. So I'm going to say run no mobs. So this is the basis of the command. It's saying run, it's going to execute the run command unless there are entities. Now, what counts as an entity are mobs, animals, players, items. In most cases, you'll need to specify what mobs you mean. So this command is actually not going to work because I am an entity. So it says here execute some command unless entity test has failed. It's because I'm an entity. But if we put type, if we put type, this is your specification, and we say exclamation point player, the exclamation point means not, or like false. So this is saying not player, so don't count the player. And it says no mobs. You might also need to say type equals not item, and this will be just in case someone drops an item on the ground, it won't count that as an entity and you'll be able to run. Now if you want to specify a mob, we'll say a zombie, you can do it just like this, and all it's going to look for is to see if any zombies are alive. If we test this, it says no mobs. Now if I put a zombie, it doesn't say anything because it failed, because there's a zombie. If I put a skeleton, still fails. If I kill the zombie at the skeleton back, it still says no mobs, and that's because we specified zombie. Now one thing you can't do is try to specify 2 mobs. You can specify which mobs you don't want it to count, but you can't specify which mobs you do. You can't specify multiple mobs you do want it to count. So obviously it doesn't say anything because there are those, but if you look in here, it says duplicate type arguments, which basically means it didn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work, and I don't know why the other way would be allowed to work. So you can't do this, so if you wanted to specify specifically a zombie and a skeleton, then you would have to add another command block. So my recommendation for minigames is if you have animals and mobs in your game that you will have to specify either adding more command blocks and specifying it individually in each one which mob you do want it to count, or you can specify in this one command block, not cow type equals not chicken, and then leave out the other mobs you want it to count. Now I'm going to show you what you would also want to do, you might want to do for your mini game. You'll have your command block and you'll change it to repeat, and it needs redstone, and you will add another command block, make this chain, conditional, and always active. You're going to put in a fill command with the coordinates of the block in front of the first command block. Say fill -6, -60, 22, -6, -60, 22, and you're going to fill it with air. And then you're going to put this in front of it. It's currently testing over and over again to make sure there are no mobs, specifically there's no zombies, but there is one, so it's failing. So I'm gonna get rid of the zombie, and you'll see it said no mobs, and this redstone block is gone. So this would be good for a dungeon game, because what you can do is have it test to make sure that the zombie is dead, and then open the door to the next room, which could just be a fill with air command, and then you would want it to then stop doing that so that it's not constantly running that command over again. Filling with air isn't that much of a big deal, but if instead you wanted it to test for zombie and then give 1 gold ingot, you only want it to give 1 gold ingot, so you want that to stop happening. So what you would do is have your redstone block here, and then this next command block would get rid of the redstone block. And this actually works. This command block only works when the first command block is successful, because we put it to conditional, and I say it in multiple videos. Conditional is basically don't do until the previous block has been successful, and the previous command block was not successful when there was a zombie, because it's searching to make sure the zombie is dead. So there's a lot you can do with this, and I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching.